Welcome back for the rest of you who are brave enough to see part 2 of art journaling, using Viva Las VegaStamps. So if you missed part 1, you'll want to check that out. It shows you how I created this face very easily using Viva Las VegaStamps. You can see the only thing that was drawn here is the nose, and I'm about to glue down the crown. And this was also a stamp. And what I'm going to use that matte gel medium again. So just going to put it on a brush this time, kind of quickly, and go over it. And one thing I do love about this is that it does dry matte, so if you get it off the edges, don't panic, it'll be okay. If you use the glossy Mod Podge, you will know where you went. However, when I used the last one I used glossy, what I did is I just went over the entire thing afterwards to seal it, so it doesn't really matter. Use whatever you have. If you guys have plain Elmer's glue, that's fine too. Don't be afraid to use it. And I'm just kind of putting it under and going over the edges to kind of keep everything sealed and flat. And you can see here what I was talking about, being able to see through it, that I love. Maybe you can see, there you go. You can see the music notes through there, and I just love that effect. It's fun for me. Maybe you don't like that, in which case you could just use plain paper, cardstock, whatever you have, or you could use scrapbook paper. And I've got some bubbles here, that's fine. I could heat dry it, and it would probably help. And you know, that adorable eye we cut out earlier off the first piece, I think that might be super cute up here. You know what? I'm gonna add it on there. I like it. And I'll probably add some color to that later. So you never know. Once you cut these pieces apart, they could be used in so many different ways. Don't feel bad cutting a stamped image. You stamp it out. That's what's great about stamps, is you can cut them apart into 1,000 different ways and use them. Completely different than maybe what you had originally thought. Alright, I'm just going to put a little bit of this down here as well to keep everything nice and sealed. Sorry, I got a little bit of too much on there. Now that I have this set on here, I'm going to do a really quick heat dry. And I think, actually, to save you some time videoing, I'm going to just wipe off these edges a little bit. And I apologize, I have ink on my fingers already. I'm going to put a wash of color around the outside of this. I like the way it looks with a little bit extra color. I think I'm going to use a, ooh, not that color, just went across the room. How about a little bit more of this acrylic? It's called Surf Blue if you want the exact color, in Craft Essentials. It's very cheap. I want to say I paid like 69 cents a bottle. I think at Joann's, and I'm just going to put it right on the paper. Because it is a very cheap paint, it's a lot thinner, which I love. So, and I dipped, my paintbrush has a lot of water on it because I really want a light wash, just to add some color to make her kind of pop off the page and everything else. And I'm just going to go gently around here because I know that's still drying. If you go over it, don't panic. It's not going to hurt anything. And I could take a paper towel and dry it off. And this is a non-stick craft mat, so I'm not getting it on the table, not worrying about ruining my table. And because I have this watered down even more, it is lighter than the color that I use in the hair. And I'm going to go back in and add more pinks, maybe some whites for that hair, just to give it a little bit. Oh, you can't even see where I'm going down here. What I'm doing is just going all the way edge to edge. And I'm going to trim this down, probably to make it about 8.5 by 11. Because I made it, this is a very large sheet music piece. And most journals that I use, I think the one I used earlier might be a little bit bigger. And see, I did get over that. I'm just going to wipe that off with my finger. They are not quite as large. So if I was going to put this on one of my journals, it wouldn't fit. Although this one may end up actually going to the store at Viva Las Vegas. So if you go to Vegas, stop by the Viva Las Vegas stamp store. And hopefully you'll see it there when it's all completed. Because they look so much better in person than they do just on a camera, really. Like it's amazing how much detail you can't see even in a scanned image. The light just doesn't quite pick up everything right. And what I'm gonna do, just pick up some of that color haphazardly with my paper towel, just so that some spots have a little bit more see-through than others. You don't have to if you really like the coverage. If you like thick coverage and you only want to see through on her face, you don't have to pick color up at all. And like I said, you don't even have to have anything showing through. I love layers, I really do. And color, and so much of this is so much fun. Okay, hopefully I didn't shake the camera too bad. Now that I've got a wash on there, I think I am going to go ahead and add a little bit more color to her hair. Use a little bit more of that pink I've got out and go back over that edge so it really pops from where the blue is and kind of keeps it separate. And she's got the nice blue undertones, which gives her some highlights, gives her some shading around her face, and don't be afraid to leave some of that. You can add green, orange, whatever you want. I think this is just because it's starting to get springtime here, summery, and I like the brighter summery colors. They're cheery. Make me think of the snow melting away hopefully soon. We had it melted away and now it's back. So this will hopefully get rid of it. At least that's what we can wish for. So there's my cotton candy pinks and blues. And what I want to do now, just to add a little bit more detail, is I think I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of white in her hair. I've got, screw the lid on the rest of the way. I usually just dip right out of the lid if I'm only going to use a little bit. And this one is Craft Colors and called in bright white. I just use whatever I can find. If I find these at a thrift store for cheap, I buy them. So don't worry about the brand. But when I buy them at the craft store, I buy whatever is either on sale or is the cheapest. And you can even use a coupon. If there's nothing, now I can't say that I rarely ever walk out of a craft store with nothing that I want. But if you go in and there's just nothing you want, use your 50% off coupon at Joann's or 40% off or Michael's and pick up a bottle of this cheap paint. You can get it for, usually I think it's 69 cents, and then you can get it way cheaper. And what I'm doing is just adding some white and just kind of flicking some lines down on here. I wish I could make this not so bright for you guys. When it's all done, I'll make sure to post some close-up pictures on the Viva Las VegaStamps blog. And I'll try to get a really good close-up at the end. And what this does, I feel like it just helps it to separate from the background a little bit more. Gives you a little bit more shading, more depth. And you can go in and add as much of this as you want. And on this one, because I had stamped after I painted the skin tone, I'm going to go ahead and add the white in the eyes. And you know, you really probably wouldn't notice it a whole lot if I didn't do it. But I really want this to pop out and give her that bright, doughy-eyed feel, because this is supposed to be cheerful. And I like doing it afterwards like this because it makes your blacks look even bolder. And you can see how, wow, you can see on the camera, that really makes that pop a lot. So there's the white highlights in the hair. And I think that one's just a little bit bright, so I'm just gonna kind of drag the napkin and pull the color out a little bit. And I want this a little bit darker down here in her skin tone. I've added the shading. Now I'm gonna go over it with some more of, I believe it's medium flesh. And you can use, if you have maybe some brown paint, some yellow, some white, you can mix your colors and make light tans or whatever. Make any color skin tone you want, actually. You can even do, like I said, you don't have to be realistic. If you wanted to do green and use that one-eyed monster and make an alien lady, go for it. Nobody is stopping you. This is your dream, your journal. You create anything you want. And I'm just painting right out of the bottom, going right over top of those because I know I'm watering down my layers, so they're still going to be see-through. And I'm still going to have that beautiful shading that I've worked on. And I can always add more. The fun part is adding layers and knowing that you've built everything up to the perfect level that you are wanting. And you can see she's really coming to life down here. I don't know, I hope you guys can see this on the camera. And try to make sure you're keeping that little bump up for the shoulders on both sides. Just past the head, it should raise up a little bit and then go down. And I'm not painting all the way down this page because I am going to cut it off. I'm probably going to cut it off right below where you can see the music notes, just because the music notes is what I find to be fun about it. Okay, there we go. And I think I want to add some color to this crown. I'm thinking maybe some green. So I've got some green out here. It's called Apple Tart. It's also one of the craft essentials. One of those nice 69-cent bottles, 70 cents, I don't know. I know they were really cheap and it was a great deal. And they are just truly wonderful. And I dip my paintbrush in a lot of water first because I really want this to be a light wash over top. And it is peeling up a little bit here because I have not let it dry all the way. Don't worry if it does, you can tack it right back down. Just a little bit more of that matte medium or gel medium or glossy Mod Podge. Any Mod Podge actually, they do make a matte Mod Podge. I'm just out at the moment. But I really like these greens with this. And now that I'm thinking about the alien thing, I feel like doing an alien. So watch back, you never know, you might find one of those coming out soon too. That's one of the wonderful things about using stamped images. You can go so many different routes without having to be able to draw. They have so many, and actually, especially Viva Las VegaStamps, because they have such a variety of stamps. And I believe they even have, I know they actually have different eyes and noses you can use. You can make men if you wanted. You can do so many things, and not just for the faces. You can also do your backgrounds. Like this Harlequin stamp is huge. I could have done an entire body piece or shirt by piecing two of these together. Probably could have actually just used one because it was so long. You can do such a variety of creations and things. Backgrounds, you can do the writing. They have, like, this number here came from the December daily kit. You don't have to use it for December. You can use, actually, especially if you do the monthly challenges and things, the numbers are great. And I'm gonna add a little bit of green down here too. But there's so many just different variety of stamps. They do different sizes. If you do the smaller 5x7 journals, you can still do this. And these eyes will actually fit really well in one of the smaller journals if you wanted to do just a whole page. I choose to extend my page very long. You can make the face shorter. You can make it narrower. You don't need a giant crown. You can just do the hair and then the shoulders and have her come off the page. You could do a half face if you wanted, like she's peeking over the page. So you can go a different variety. Don't worry if you don't do a giant page. If you're doing canvases, you can stamp on the canvas and leave the blank spots for texture, or you could stamp on vellum or cardstock and add it right to the canvas so you don't miss any of those spots that you might by stamping directly on it. I really like that in green. I'm gonna give you guys a little bit of a close-up so you can see that too. It's just a really light wash. I left the eye so that I can add some color in here. I don't know what color I'm gonna do there yet. I think I'm actually gonna add a little bit of green in the actual eye part here as well. Pull a little bit of the color off. And maybe, why not? Maybe on here too. Just a couple little spots. And you can use your markers for this as well. You don't have to use paint. If you're one of those people that likes the alcohol markers, Spectrum Noir, Copics, it doesn't matter. You can use crayons to do this face. This whole technique can be done in any medium you want. If you want to use your inks, Tim Holtz makes the Distress ink and Antique Linen. That would be perfect. It's a great skin tone. Mix that with a couple of the browns for shading your blues. You can do this, like I said, with any technique. If you want to specifically see a technique, I don't have a lot of the alcohol markers, but I could use it with the ink technique or something. Request it, just leave me a comment and I can see what I can do. If I have the stuff to do it, I will, and I'll show you how I would do it. But that's completely, don't be afraid to play around. There's no wrong way to do it. And I think I want to add a little bit of yellow to her hair also, just to give her a little bit more pop. And I think I want to add it actually as some highlights around her. And this one's called Empire Gold by Delta Cream Coat. And I'm just going to add it right along these bottoms of her bangs. I don't know if you can see that there. I hope so. And I have a really thin brush for this one. I don't know, I like this brush. But you can use anything you want. And actually, a lot of times I buy, if you live in the US and you are near a Big Lots, used to be Odd Lots, you can buy big packs of paintbrushes usually in their little craft section, kid section, I don't know. I think it's a craft section for like $4, which is where I got mine. And what I'm doing now is I'm kind of pulling that blonde yellow over the pinks and blues because I kind of think I like it fading down into the yellow. So I might not add a bunch at the top. I do. I really like that. I'll let you see that. Hopefully you can see a little brighter there. Let's see if I can change this really quick on you guys. There we go. Whoops. Now you guys can see it. It's a little bit darker now, but you can see what I'm doing a little better. So that colors, pinks and blues here at the top, and fades right down. Oh boy, we are really high on time, so I'm going to stop this, and you guys can come back for part 3 if you're really interested.